welcome to Flicker Effect. This is a podcast where each week we chat about the latest happenings in film, TV, and pop culture. This is episode number 161, and we're recording on January 24th, 2016. I'm David Lott. Joining me this week is Bobby Jackson.
Hello.
Yasha Wilson.
Hey.
And Michelle Curry.
Hey.
How's it going, guys?
Michelle, you sound tired, man. Are you okay over there?
Me?
Michelle.
Oh,
no,
Michelle.
you're good.
Oh.
We're like, and
me?
Michelle Curry. She's like, hey.
Hey.
No, I'm good.
Is that the wine already?
I'm good. I don't know how to convince you. No, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm getting over a cold. I was sick this last week.
Dude, me too. Last week. All last week.
I was pretty hard sick, but I'm good now. I'm doing pretty okay now. Things are good.
Okay, good.
All right, good.
I'm glad we cleared the air there.
Sweet.
Thank you for setting me at ease.
Okay, I'm gonna ask this again, and I could be wrong again, but never mind. I was gonna say Michelle is cut off again on my screen, but she kind of keeps moving into frame, and then she kind of moves out of frame. So I wasn't for sure, again, if it was just I didn't have the browser open wide enough, or if she literally is just sort of halfway on the screen again, because she's
open that browser up a little bit.
Yeah,
No,
I don't know if she's there.
I'll give you a full picture of me then.
Oh wait, see now I see what's wrong with it again. One of these days I'll get used to this internet thing.
Oh, the internet.
It's just a fad. Don't worry about it, Bobby. It's not going to last.
It'll
It's
die
cool.
out. We'll go back to using phones again.
Yeah, any day now. Any day. That's going to make for a hell of an interesting show that day.
Or we're all just on phones.
So.
Alrighty then. So, what's everybody been up to? We normally like to start off by talking about what we've been watching. So I guess we'll do that. And who to go to first? Bobby, why not you? Because that's just only natural.
All right. Well,
what have you been watching lately?
Lately, see, that's the key word is lately, because over the break, I think I had watched a lot of movies like you did in preparation, trying to catch up. But I don't know. Now it feels like it's a couple weeks old, so I didn't know if I should talk about anything now. So since I haven't really thought about any of the old stuff that I watched, I'll just talk about some of the stuff I just watched recently. And one of the things was I had mentioned before that I was watching the show Bloodlines on Netflix, and I finally finished that up. And I gotta say, it was definitely good, but it's such a slow burn. I really don't think I started to really feel invested completely in it until maybe around episode 8 out of 13. So it took a long while for it to grab hold of me. The other episodes until that point, they were fine, but they were just kind of there was nothing. I couldn't understand why people liked it as much and what was so gripping and compelling about it. And it's, I guess, once you get to about that episode, all the things that are happening before that time starts to pay off, and everything starts to come in on itself, and you start to get more oh, okay, now I see why this was happening, and this and how this connects to that, and that's when it starts to get really good. But until that point, you're just kind of going through it, and you're just waiting for something to happen, really. And once it does, it starts to become more of a satisfying experience to watch, and then you're kind of waiting. So I got caught up because I know season 2 starts, I believe, this month, at the end of the month. If it didn't get pushed back, I didn't look to see if the release date had changed or not, but it's supposed to start this month, and so I wanted to make sure I was all caught up and ready to start when that came on. So yeah, I guess if anyone wants to watch it before season 2, you can binge watch it, and like I said, it probably will start off pretty slow, but eventually it does get to a point where you get really into it and become invested.
Yeah, that seems to be the common thread every time I've heard anybody talk about that show, is that it's a great ending, but it takes a while to get really going. And I think I watched the first 2 episodes, and it was good, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I obviously haven't watched any more since, so I guess that says something. I should probably keep going with it.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you have time, because I know there's a lot of other stuff.
Well, I got a lot of
your list, yeah. And Let's see, what else did I watch? Oh, okay. So I had watched the first episode on Netflix of the Chelsea Handler show. I think it's called Chelsea On, and she
You watch
takes.
that?
Yeah, I just it was brand new, and I was like, she's someone that I find kind of interesting, and that I've never really watched her shows or her stand-ups or anything, but I I find her interesting because she's very outspoken and she kind of speaks her mind and has no filter, and so I was kind of curious as to what the concept of this show was going to be and what she was doing on it, and it's basically like she kind of will take a subject matter, whether it's marriage or the Silicon Valley, and she'll explore what that means to her in her life and in her world. And the first episode was about marriage and how she had basically never looked at the idea of marriage as anything she wanted to be a part of. But now that she's getting a little bit older in life, she's kind of like considering it. But she's this person that has this sort of wild and in your face kind of attitude that she's finding it hard to find a guy, and so she's kind of like going through this process of like, oh, let me try and go with a matchmaker and see what type of people they find for me, or let me visit this S&M place and see what that's all about. And so she just kind of goes through different places and talks to different people in her life, her parents or her brother and sister, and kind of asks them to almost basically diagnose her, like what kind of person is she, why is she so off-putting to people. And it was kind of interesting because it made me learn a little bit more about her as a personality and what she's kind of looking for in life. And I would definitely probably watch, at least because I only watched the first episode, so I would probably give it at least a couple more episodes to see based on the subject matter of what she's trying to explore and trying to figure out. But yeah, I'd never really, like I said, paid much attention to her that much, and before that, but I just decided to give it a try and see how it was.
Cool.
All right. And
And it was enough for me to say I'll go and watch the second episode once I get enough enough time to go check it out.
I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, the way that you're describing it, it does sound rather interesting. I just don't like her, so it's gonna be really hard for me to like sit through a whole. What was it? A half hour or an hour?
I think it was like I think it was like an hour. I want to say it was an hour.
All right. Yeah, that'd be that's a lot of Chelsea
Yeah.
for like. And if there's a 12 episode series, that's a lot of that's a lot of uninterrupted Chelsea for me. Like, there's no commercial breaks. There's no anything. There's like one show that I would watch that would celebrate the commercial breaks because it's just like gives me a minute to like really detox. Like, okay, whew, here we go, and get ready for more. Like, and you know what to say? It's like I actually enjoyed the show that she wrote for a while with who was it? That chick from that '70s show. Laura Prepon.
Laura Prepon?
This Is Me or whatever. Not This Is Me. That sounds stupid. What was it? God dang it. It was.
I don't know what it was called.
Are You There, Chelsea? Where she kind of played a different version or a version of
Oh,
Chelsea.
she had that TV show, right?
The TV show. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot about that.
I thought the jokes were rather predictable and whatnot, but I actually kind of enjoyed it for the most part. I thought it was, interesting. It was kind of funny, and Chelsea Handler was on that show because she was like the executive producer, probably, and like one of the writers for the show and all that other stuff. But it was decent. Like, it was, it was a sitcom, very, very strong sitcom. But I don't know. It's like that was one of the things that she did that I actually enjoyed. I don't really think her stand-up is all that great.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you watched this if it would change your mind about her in any sort of way, and I almost think like it's geared towards people that do like her and are familiar with her or liked her talk show when she had it. So I don't know if it would be anything that you'd probably watch maybe 15 minutes of it and be like, I'm done. I don't know if it would be anything that you'd be able to enjoy really.
Well, probably not, but I do like
the
the idea. I do like the idea of what you said, how it's like her kind of examining herself as to like why, she's having such a hard time trying to find the right person or, kind of move on in her life. I kind of like that idea. It seems a little revealing. And I'm not even a huge fan of reality shows like that or anything to that extent. but I thought that sounded good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hell, worth trying out and seeing what you think, at least. Let's see, what else did I watch? There's another thing. Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about Batman Bad Blood, the latest WB animation that takes place in this new DC universe that's animated that features like the Justice League and those characters. And they'll typically have different spin-off episodes of some of the members or of the Justice League, and it's all connected within this DC universe. And the premise behind this one is that Batman goes missing, and it's kind of up to his extended Bat family to figure out what's happened to him and to still be able to protect Gotham while he's away. And it kind of essentially takes the storyline, or not necessarily the storyline, but takes the idea of something that happened in the comics when Batman was gone for about a year, I'd say a year and some change, and Dick Grayson ended up taking up the mantle and being Batman, and Damian, who is Batman's son, was the Robin to his Batman. And it takes some of that element into this, and it also incorporates Batwoman and Batwing, and there's like a little surprise that happens at the end as well. But overall, it's honestly probably one of my... I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, because I've kind of skipped out on the last two Batman stories. I think it was Son of Batman and what was the other?
Robin.
Yeah, there
Batman
you go.
versus Robin.
Exactly. I didn't check out those two because I started feeling like I was getting too much Batman of the animated ones. They don't seem to pump out enough of the other Justice League members of their cartoons or the Justice League cartoons, and it was just Batman after Batman after Batman. And oddly enough, I think the reason why I like this one is the same reason why I ended up liking the one that was the Suicide Squad one, and it's because you don't get that much Batman in it. It's actually more of the other things that they're focusing on. Like the Suicide Squad one was almost all told from their point of view, and you had Batman here and there. And in this one, it's like mostly Dick Grayson and Damian and Batwoman, and then you get Batman here and there. And so it was kind of interesting seeing it from that perspective once again, and me enjoying the story because it wasn't just a full-on Batman story. So if you go into it expecting a full-on Bruce Wayne Batman story and him taking on bad guys, you're not going to get that, because that's not what this one is about. So I enjoyed it a little bit more, I think, because of that.
Did you like Justice League Gods and Monsters?
I think I thought it was okay. I can't even specifically remember the storyline of that one. But
Well, it was kind of like a different take on the idea of where
oh yeah, okay.
University.
No, I did like that one a lot, and it was again the same thing. It was because it wasn't the traditional Justice League members and them doing kind of their thing. It was like a different take, because it was the instead of Superman, it was Zod's son, and it was son of Zod is Superman, and you had a different type of a Wonder Woman, and it was just more interesting because it was taking it from a different perspective and seeing a different element under which those characters could and still would work as you know them as, but with a rougher edge and sometimes a little bit more of a superiority aspect to them. So it was pretty interesting. I did like that one a lot, actually.
Well, it'd be interesting to know exactly what the sales are for some of these, because my feeling is that they go with Batman and the Batman stories because obviously Batman sells. People know the story, they like the story, they're involved in the story, they care about the story, and obviously they want to keep seeing more and more Batman. That's why they keep releasing more and more Batman movies, and they focused on that. It's just recently that they've decided to focus on, like, hey, we have other comic book characters, let's try and make them sell.
Yeah.
Hence the Wonder Woman, hence Aquaman, and even in the on the home video, like Justice League, Throne of Atlantis, it feels like they try to get things and people more involved in some of their other characters. But honestly, I think the problem is a lot of their characters aren't really relatable, and they're not really that interested in it. People aren't that interested in buying into them. I watch them because I'm a comic book geek, and I get into that stuff, and I think it's fun. But it's like, don't be surprised. We're just going to see more and more Batman. As far as I know, they're still supposed to be doing The Killing Joke, which should be coming out soon.
Yeah.
I would think in the next year or so, and I can't wait to see that one. And that one's all about Batman and the Joker. So.
I think the next one that they're doing, though, if I remember right, I don't even remember where I read it at, but I think it's Justice League versus Teen Titans, and
Yeah,
it's
it
like
is.
okay, and so that one
Yeah.
actually looks like something I'll be really interested in because again, it goes away from Batman, and it's more like including the Justice League and it's including the Teen Titans with Nightwing on the Teen Titans side, and reason why I keep talking about Nightwing, I've talked about him before, but he's like my favorite DC character of between him and Wally West Flash are like my two favorite DC characters. So seeing the story with him in this Batman was one of the reasons why I really liked it, and also because the next one being with the Teen Titans, it involves him as well. So I think I'll enjoy that one also.
Cool. Well, thanks for that. Yasha, what have you watched this week?
I watched Bad Grandpa. Or
Somebody
Dirty
went to the
Grandpa,
theater. Woohoo!
straight to the theater. Dirty Grandpa and I watched The Revenant last night. I mean, we could talk about the television show we watched. I think we all watched Legends of Tomorrow. So we can all weigh in on that. I mean, I can give my perception of that right away, if you'd
Yeah,
like.
whatever you want to start with first.
Yeah, man. I'm curious to see what you guys think about it.
I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like completely sold on it. Like I was just kind of the one thing that I did like about it is a huge spoiler of it, so I won't really get into that until I hear everybody else's thoughts on it. But it was fun. It was okay. I'm really sorry to say this, but the guys that play Captain Cold and the Fire Guy or whatever, they overact like big time throughout the entire show. Even when they were on Arrow, when they're on Flash, they overact the hell out of those characters. And I don't think it needs to be that extreme. Like it's almost like they give them these cliche and corny things to say. Like it's almost like Mr. Freeze from when Arnold Schwarzenegger was playing, like, "Hey everybody, chill." You know what I mean? Like it's like, I mean, come on, tell me I'm not the only person that hasn't noticed this. Like I'm watching this and I'm just like, I can almost predict word for word what he's going to say. I'm not really that kind of a person. And it looks like he's about to have a stroke when he's sitting there talking sometimes. And it's just like, come on, man.
Yeah, it is a shame to see because I've seen Wentworth Miller do other things, and while not a spectacular actor, I mean, like, he can act decently. And yeah, every time he's ever shown up as Mr. Freeze or Mr. Chill or whatever his stupid little name is. Captain Cold.
Captain Cold.
I know, I should know this. Every time he showed up on The Flash, I was just kind of like, really, Wentworth? Come on, dude. Like, I know you're better than this.
It's very
like,
easy to remember, Michelle. It's very easy to remember. Think of the stupidest name you could possibly think of and go with that. And that's what it is.
That's what Cisco names them. I know. Yeah. I fully agree with you. I think, yeah, they're way too much almost all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Dominic Purcell is amazing. Like, I've seen that guy in other stuff, and he's, like, phenomenal. Like, he has real talent. Like, to me, he just transforms into it, and he does really well. But in this, it's like, dude, where did they find you? Like, it's some backwater play that, like, got no attention, and you say that you were off-Broadway, which you're really, 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 really off-Broadway production of something. I mean, because it's just like they overact. I mean, yeah, it's like, I mean, they just overact like nobody's business. And it's like, but everybody else seems to be good. And it's like, and another one is like Victor Garber. Like, I mean, he's a very seasoned actor, and he's the one that plays Dr. Martin Stein. And he's really, really seasoned as well. But even still, when you see him, you're just like, please don't kill it. Like, don't be so terrible that I don't want to watch this, And I mean, I'm still sold. I'm still interested. I'm interested more in to see where they're going to take the story, because I liked where they were going with, some of this, and it was fun. But I'm really, really 50-50 right now. Like, I'm really on the fence.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I watched it last night, and yeah, it just didn't quite sell me that much on it. I was just like, I don't know. They've got to do some work. And like you said, a lot of it's the overacting. And I actually said at one point, like, to my husband, I was like, oh, Victor Garber's career. You can, like, to see the span of his career, and this is where he's at right now. And I'm like, it's just so bizarre to me. But I don't know. It's, yeah.
Doesn't it make you wonder how they managed to get him? Like, isn't that like a curious? It's like, dude, how did you? They decide to be like, yeah, you were like, yeah, this is the next move for me, like Legends of Tomorrow. Like, wait, what?
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, yes and no. Like Victor, he's done some like sci-fi stuff before in the past, and so to do kind of this kind of thing isn't that far-fetched, but at the same time, like I don't know. In a way, I almost felt, yeah, Victor is definitely kind of above this kind of a career move at this point in time in his career in his life. But at the same time, like, he's also kind of down with kind of stuff like this too. Like, he's done silly, fun roles like this before. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, like last night's this pilot story, it just didn't really. I know it's the whole like getting the group together kind of thing, but they went through that pretty fast, and then it was like, let's get on to the actual plot of this pilot. And it wasn't that gripping to me off the bat. I was just gonna like, this needs to something needs to happen here pretty soon. So yeah, I'm gonna see it out a few more episodes, but I can't promise I'm gonna be hanging on to it, which is sad because I was kind of looking forward to this. It looks kind of cool from the trailer we saw how many months ago. But
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, Bobby and I were messaging back and forth on Friday when I was watching it, and I was like, I love the WB's lineup. It's basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all comic book stuff, and they try to take over the afternoon. But like you, it's like I mean, like I said, I'm really, really 50-50 on it, on whether or not I'll stay involved. I'll probably give it, a good 3 or 4 more episodes, or maybe even the whole entire season. But if it doesn't sell me on a story that's gripping and I mean, how gripping could it be? It's a comic book show, but it's like,
right,
at least keep me involved, and I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah, I can see that going down. But there's parts of it I just was like, no, dude, like, seriously, come on. So, but that's
yeah.
So, Bobby, you watched it too?
Yeah, I watched it. I can't say too much different or anything anything that they haven't said that's in regards to it, because I can see their point. I think for me, I guess Okay, so yeah, the first episode itself it's just whatever. It's not really a great pilot. I mean, it's okay. It does enough to get you into the concept and explain the characters to you if you really aren't familiar with it. Like if you had just came into it and you didn't watch Flash or you didn't watch Arrow, it gives just the introduction and then kind of takes you on your way. But I guess where I feel like I will be with the show is because of the people behind it, with Greg Berlanti and Andrew Kreisberg and the people, because they did Flash, they did Arrow, they're doing Supergirl, they're doing this. So those shows have taught me that they find their rhythm as the season goes on. Even with Supergirl, once they introduced Martian Manhunter, it became a little bit more interesting to me and seeing where some things go, and I'm getting a little bit more used to the characters and liking it a little bit more. But yeah, for me, it's like the thrill of what they're going to do, and the fact and the aspects of them time traveling and the other characters they can introduce. Like I saw something where they said, I think at some point in time this season they'll have Jonah Hex on there, and then I think at another point they said that there could be ideas of certain characters that are on the show now either dropping off in some sort of way. I don't know if that means dying or whatever, but also gathering other characters throughout their run, where it could be, okay, now Heatwave isn't on the show, but you've got this other character, and so the roster could change in some sort of ways throughout the lifetime of the show. So I don't know, I think it's an interesting idea that can play out very well as long as it kind of is able to take what they did in the pilot and be able to build on it in a way that is compelling and not so much riding that fine line of being campy and cheesy over being something that's a cool action comic book type show. And I think that's where they're at now. It's like right on that line, and sometimes it tips over too much into the campy, cheesy area when they need to pull it back a little bit more. And I think between people's reactions to it and just them getting more episodes under their belt, they'll find their rhythm like they have with the other shows, and it'll develop into something that's a little bit more compelling week to week.
Yeah, I'm the only one
I like
who
the
didn't
idea.
see it. I'll say I haven't watched it. I mean, I'm sure I could watch it even though I'm behind on Flash and Arrow. But I will say, I don't know, even being the comic book and DC fan that I am, there's been nothing about the trailers for it that really hold any interest for me. So I don't know. I'm gonna give it a shot eventually, but yeah, I don't. It just looks a little too
The
much.
Atom doesn't do it for you? Come
Oh no, I
on.
really didn't care for the Atom at all in Flash and
White Canary?
and Arrow, and I just no, I don't know. I'll give it a shot, but unfortunately, it seems like it might be the first. At least it appears to me. I haven't seen it yet, but the first maybe misstep for the Berlanti clan.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
see.
No, I'm with you on that. Like, I'm not really sold on the Arrow, not White Canary, not Captain Cold, not Heat Wave. Basically, the main cast. Let's just say the main cast. I'm not really sold on the main cast.
So
The thing that drives the entire
the
show.
main aspect of the show, you're not a huge fan of.
Awesome.
No,
Right.
I'm kidding. I'm actually sold on. I like the Hawk story. They're okay, and I like what is the character that when they merge? What is that? That's Firestorm. That's it. I
Yeah.
like that. I like them. I thought that was really cool when they introduced that on the Flash. But aside from that,
Mhm.
Gotcha. Well, what'd you think of? I'm curious. What'd you think of Dirty Grandpa?
you know what? It was okay. The story was very, very predictable. But you're really going just kind of to see what Robert De Niro may say and or do next. And then even some parts, what he does do, it's not as shocking as you would kind of hope it would be, and or, which is really weird for me to say, but it was just okay. Like, and I think that's why it debuted so low. I really could have waited to see that, but I wanted to see something else, and it was between that and The Boy. And after seeing The Revenant last night, I think I really needed something funny, and that did the trick. So it had its moments, but it wasn't spectacular, and that's sad because honestly, I've started to like Zac Efron, and I think he's actually quite good when he pops up into stuff. I think his comedic delivery is really, really funny, and he was part of the funniest parts of this whole movie. And Robert De Niro was, he was interesting. It was fun. Like, it was cool. So, I mean, it was okay though. That's just it. I wouldn't tell anybody, oh my God, you have to go see that. Like, I've seen other comedies where I'm just like, you have to see this and you should go see it in the theater. And this one, I'm like, yeah, Redbox, total dollar rental. You can totally wait for that. So
I think
that's
it's
unfortunate.
pretty foretelling for a January movie. I mean, there are okay movies that come out in January, but they're nothing that's really gripping or spectacularly over the hill funny. It's all pretty middle of the road. That's kind of what
Yeah.
January is, unfortunately, in the cinematic world.
Yeah. I also watched Sicario.
Sicario.
Sicario. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I watched it the
Yep.
week before we did the top 10 because I hadn't seen it yet. But yeah, I finally watched it.
I finally watched that. I thought that
You
was
liked it?
Yeah, that was
Oh.
good. That was good. That was damn good.
Yeah.
And I don't like Emily Blunt. I think we all
That's
know
right.
that.
You're forgetting
Yeah.
that. God, it kills
Oh,
me.
I didn't forget it. That's why I was gonna wait to see what he said about it. But
That her face just bothers me.
Man, oh, you hurt it.
I think the
okay.
role would have been better suited. I think the role would have been better suited with somebody that I can actually believe was a badass. And I don't believe that Emily Blunt is.
Well,
a
that's the
badass.
problem. That's my problem with the movie. Other than that, I did like it, but I feel like she is and isn't a badass, and I think that's not her fault. I think it's the characters.
yeah, I think the
You know what I did? You know what I really enjoyed, David, and I thought about you while I was watching this movie, is like the score for that movie is awesome.
It is. It's a good score.
That
Yeah.
makes to me the entire movie because that sets the tone and the pace, and you're just like when that beat comes on, you're like, holy shit, something good is about to go down, and you're just waiting. And it's like, I mean, that's how I felt about it. I was just like, dude, this is so exciting, and I was just like, when I was listening to that, I really have started to pay attention to that more since I've started doing the show with you because I hear you talk about it all the time, and I just really, I don't know, I get into it more, and I pay attention to that type of that part of the movie more since you. So thank you, David. Singing your praises.
Here to help.
Bravo, sir.
Well, one of my favorite parts of that movie, well, two of my favorite parts, and without spoiling things, is the part when they're at the border and they're checking the cars.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
like
intense.
so intense.
Incredibly
And
intense.
when I was in the theater watching it, it was just like I was literally on the edge of my seat, just like waiting to see what was going to happen because it's built up in such a way, and the music is there, and the cinematography. I thought it was really good in this film, in Sicario, and it just getting to look at the city like that. I just never really seen it before in such detail in the way that it was shot, and it was kind of interesting from that perspective. And the other scene that I really liked is towards the end when Benicio's character is at the dinner table with the particular person. That part is pretty sick.
That was damn good. Those are all amazing scenes. But it's like at the same time, like I felt that scene was a little predictable. But I wanted what was going to happen, and you're pleasantly happy when it does happen. It was like watching Taken for the first time. Yeah. Everything that you want to happen happens, and you enjoy the hell out of it.
And just to the extent that he took it within that scene, I didn't know if he was going to go there in certain ways, and he did.
I was really hoping he would.
Yeah.
Nice. And your thoughts on The Revenant?
You know, that was an intense as hell movie. Like, that movie, like, my girlfriend walked out of that and she was like, the movie was really, really dark. And I'm like, yeah, did you expect a revenge movie to be super lighthearted and fun? And she was like, I don't know, I just wasn't really expecting that. I didn't know what to expect. But I was like, it was good. She's like, no, it was good, but holy shit, man. And I'm just like, I was like, yeah. Because, like, I was sitting there watching and she's like, did you guys already talk spoilers?
No.
For The Revenant? No.
Okay, well, there's a scene in the movie that involves a horse. And, you know, I was talking to her about it when we were watching the movie. I told her what he was going to do, and she was like, no, he's not going to. Oh, my God. And it was like she was watching a horror movie. She kept covering her face because she couldn't watch certain scenes of this movie. And it was intense, but I really liked it. Like, I mean, I really enjoyed it. It was this guy couldn't catch a break. I mean, for the most part, though, some of the scenes where it's like I felt like they looked up at the trees a little bit too much, and it was, you know, the continuity for the movie was kind of like broken up with that. And I mean, but overall, I really enjoyed it. Like, it just, the pacing for that when they did that, it didn't seem to really fit. Like, they could have just transitioned right into the next thing. And I understand that he was probably using that for the transition to the next shot. But it was so slow pacing at times. It's just like, okay, let's move a little along. Like, I want to see what happens next, type of thing, you know. Mm-hmm. But I mean, to be fair too, it's like I'm also not a real huge fan of this director. Like he did. Really? I'm really not. Like, I loved Birdman. I loved Birdman. That I loved. But there was another one that he did. Well, didn't he do the one with?
Was it called Babel or?
Yeah.
No, not Babel. 21 Grams I liked. Oh, see, I was thinking of somebody else. I was thinking about the gentleman that directed Sandra Bullock in that space movie.
Alfonso Cuarón?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't like his stuff?
I don't really.
Really?
Like, yeah. What he did that, and he did Children of Men too, didn't he?
Yeah.
You didn't like Children of Men?
I fucking hated Children of Men.
You're killing us. You're killing us.
Another revelation is
what?
Wow.
I hated it. I hated that movie. I thought that movie. And you know what's funny is I watched Y Tu Mama Tambien. I've seen that, and I loved it. I loved that movie. I thought that was great. And The Prisoner of Azkaban from the Harry Potter series is my favorite of the Harry Potter movies. But Gravity, I didn't like Gravity. I didn't like Children of Men. I thought Children of Men was absolutely horrible. There was only one scene of Children of Men. David, I can see your face now. You know I can see you now, right? You're like holding your head down like, I can't believe I have this asshole on my show. Oh my God. What are we doing? I'll give it another shot sooner or later. How about this? I'll give it another shot and maybe watch it again. But as far as I'm concerned, like Children of Men was just garbage. Like I hated that movie. Like there's only one scene of the movie that I actually enjoyed, and that was the scene where everybody stopped after the baby was born, and it was literally just people, like this long take coming from them, and I was like, that's amazing. That was amazing. That was an amazing shot. But aside from that, I hated it. I thought it was so bad.
Wow.
Okay.
And Gravity too. And Gravity. Like
Yeah, I couldn't stand Gravity.
Wow.
I felt Gravity was incredibly preachy, and it was just over the top, and I couldn't stand it. I was like, it was just so, the imagery and the symbolism factor for it was just way too much for me. I was just like, I can't with this dude, man. And then when like she was curled up like a fetus, I almost wanted to get up in the theater and be like, oh fuck you, Alfonso, and just walk out. But
Wow.
no, I stuck around for the whole thing. Yeah, I couldn't stand it. I mean, and that's not to say I didn't think Sandra Bullock did a bad job, because I thought she was amazing in it. I thought the special effects were pretty fantastic. I just did not like it. I don't know why. I just couldn't get on board with it. I was like, nope.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one. Oh my gosh.
So now we got Emily
Really?
Blunt and Alfonso Cuarón to add to the list of things Joshua doesn't like.
They're on my fight on sight list, FOS list. I see Alfonso Cuarón in the street. If I see Alfonso Cuarón in the street, it's me and him. It's go time.
Oh God.
Wow.
Imagine if you see both of them.
Oh,
They tag team
I'm
you.
gonna shit myself. I don't even know how I'll respond. No, there have been times that they've both done very decent work and very good work. I don't know why. I just can't get behind like a lot of his stuff. I'm just like, nah, can't do it.
Wow.
Okay.
I know it's weird because he's so celebrated in Hollywood too. Like people love this guy and they love what he does. But Children of Men, shut your face. No, I turned that movie on and I just yelled bullshit like right there almost at the end. I'm not the only one. My buddy doesn't like it too. My old roommate, he hated that movie too. So I take it you liked it, David.
Yeah. It's funny when you started saying you were getting your directors confused on The Revenant. I thought you were going to say the same director that I brought up when I talked about The Revenant, which was Terrence Malick, which I felt like The Revenant felt a lot like his films, and I would kind of agree with you if you had said Terrence Malick, because Terrence Malick's a director where I'm like, half his movies I kind of love, and the other half I think are just complete crap. And yeah, man, Children of Men is, I mean, it's been a long time since I've watched it, and it deserves another sit down, but it's incredibly good. And I haven't seen Cuarón direct a bad movie yet. I wouldn't say Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite of the Harry Potter films for me. It's not my number one, but I definitely really enjoyed it. And yeah,
What
he
has
took me a long
Malick
time
directed?
in.
What has
Malick,
Malick directed?
He's directed The Thin Red Line. He directed The Tree of Life, The New World.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking
Through the
about.
Wonder was more recent.
Yeah, he's off the wall too.
And Yasha's list keeps growing.
Yeah, Terrence Malick, it's like I like The New World a lot, even though I know that is not a movie for everybody, but I enjoyed it. But then there's other movies like Tree of Life, which I was just like, I'm sorry, this does absolutely nothing for me. And To the Wonder, I was kind of half and half on. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, it's safe to say I was a fan of Children of Men and of Gravity. Yes. I don't remember where Gravity was in my top 10 that year. I'm sure it was in there. I think it was. Yeah, it was so good, dude. And Emily Blunt. I mean, we've talked about Emily Blunt ad nauseum, but Jesus Christ, dude, what is wrong with you? I don't understand.
How dare you, man? I don't judge you for your choice on all this stuff. I
say it out of love.
When I disagree with you, man, I'll sit here.
I know.
Man.
I'm just screwing with you, but
I know. I know it's weird. I don't know where it's come from because there's stuff I've seen Emily Blunt in that I've really enjoyed. You know what? I think it all started when I saw her in The Wolfman with Antonio Banderas.
I never saw that, so maybe that's why I don't have the tainted opinion that you do.
Don't see that movie. Just hold on to that 1950s whenever version of the Wolfman that Universal did. You go and see this, and your childhood will be ruined. I'm telling you.
All right.
I watched that. I walked out of that one, and it was so funny because like I dragged my girlfriend at the time to go see that movie, and she was like, "I really don't want to see this." I was like, "Come on, it'll be good. It's going to be so exciting." Anthony Hopkins, how can we go wrong with this movie? And we walked out, and I just like had this dumbfounded look on my face, just like, and like the people in front of us were like, "I call bullshit." Like these guys in front of me were so visibly and verbally upset as to how bad that movie was, and she was like, "Oh, I can't wait to hear your thoughts when we get to the car." And we got to the car, and she's like, "So, what did you think?" And I was like, "It was so bad. It was so bad." And she's like, "Yeah, it really was, and it was absolutely terrible." Like, and which is why it just bombed at the box office, because Universal had this whole idea of relaunching all of their classic movies, monster movies, and I mean they're still, I think, moving forward with that. With Tom Cruise and coming out and them doing The Mummy again, but that hit from that movie really, detoured them on regards to like how fast they're going to do this, because they really wanted to rethink some of this shit, because that movie just did epically bad.
All right, well, moving on. Michelle, what have you watched this week?
I watched a ton of random stuff. Just whatever was like, oh, that seems slightly interesting. Let's go with that. So a lot of Netflix, a lot of Hulu for me. But one film I watched this week on Netflix, it's called Circle. And I really can't talk a lot about it, but it's written and directed by Aaron Hahn and Mario Mischione, I think I'm saying his name right. Anyways, so this film takes 50 completely random strangers and places them in this room, and they're all unconscious, and they wake up, and they realize they're basically in a death trap of a room, and slowly, well, maybe not slowly, but pretty quickly, they all start realizing that they have to decide amongst themselves who's going to be the one person to survive this room of death. And how are they going to come to this conclusion? How are they going to kind of, pick the only person that should be worthy enough to live? And so it goes through a lot of conversations that go through, race and gender and, social norms and our class structure and the way we view pretty much every person that we interact with, and every thought that you have in your head, and you finally start vocalizing things that you don't even think you really think you feel or know. And so these people are judging each other off of anything and everything they can: age, money, are they worthy, quote unquote, worthy or good, like does religion pull into this, politics, like they start pulling everything, and like the clock is ticking, and as they're debating all of this, one by one, they're slowly dying off. It was just an interesting film to watch. It was like watching a play out, and I don't know, it's different. It's definitely not like a major Hollywood produced film, so I'm not gonna lie, it's not like this is big budget here, but it was good, it was interesting, it was thought-provoking, and it was just something I was like, wow, I didn't think that film was gonna go that way, and I was very surprised by it. So if you're looking for a little something different, I would say check it out. It's called Circle, Netflix.
So it's worth a watch.
Totally worth a watch.
I like the idea, no doubt. Like the storyline sounds really good. It interests me. Yeah,
I mean, and the actors in it are nobodies. Like you've never heard of any person in this film.
Julie Benz is in it though. It looks like.
Yeah, I've heard of Julie Benz several times.
Yeah.
Okay, so I stand corrected. You have heard of somebody.
I mean, like, what are you talking about? She's a pretty big actress.
So,
like, Dexter.
Okay, so
I mean, she was in. What's it called? I mean,
most of them for Dexter.
Okay, so she's well.
I know her from like Buffy Angel, but
Buffy and Angel. Yeah, I was about to say thank you, Bobby. I was like, let's talk old school.
Right, she was in that. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So even if you look at it, and you kind of see faces that look familiar. I mean, you can't get attached because from 50 they're gonna get down to 1. So, but it's not a very long movie. It's like an hour and 20 minutes long. It's pretty quick. So it's
That's
you're
so
not
cool.
you're right. Like you're not really giving a ton of time to this totally random chance of a movie, which is one of the things I was like, yeah, I got an hour and 20 minutes. Let's see what happens, you know. So I'd say check it out. It was surprising, different.
Cool.
But
Cool.
my other really random find this week, it was actually like 2 weeks ago, and it's on Hulu right now, and it's called Deutschland 83. And
It's called what?
Deutschland 83. So Germany 83, basically. And it's awesome. Like so it comes from Germany. The whole thing's in German. They've got it subtitled in English. But oh god, I'm really I'm happy I found this one. Like it's a really great show. It's spy and espionage and mystery and action, and it's got all these great like elements to it, you know. And the basic premise is it's 1983 in Germany, so the wall is up, East and West are divided. But where, for me, I thought the story was a lot different than a lot of other stories, spy and espionage, is that instead of somebody from the West infiltrating into the East to find out information, this story focuses on a guy who is actually working in the Red Army, and they get him on the East side to infiltrate the West, to spy for them and to get information about what's going on between the Western side and what America's planning on doing and teaming up with Germany and the plans and so forth. So it's, oh god, it's so good. Like that first episode, I was like, damn, this is interesting. This is really taking me by surprise. And I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in right now, and I'm like, I'm all in. Like I love it. Like I'm on the edge of my seat a couple of moments of the show, and and you really have to pay attention because it's completely all in German. So my German is extremely horrific from my childhood. So I only catch like every like 35th word that they say, and I'm like, oh, I know that one word. Oh, great. It doesn't help me. So you really are focusing. You're really paying attention. But yeah, damn, it's good. It's so good, and it takes place in the 80s. They've got this amazing 80s soundtrack going on, and the clothing, and yeah, the whole thing is it's done really well too. I feel like it's produced well. It's not low production value at all. It's completely entertaining. I'm just saying.
Nice.
If you're looking for something a little different that you're not going to find literally anywhere else on any other TV station, check it out. Deutschland 83.
On what again?
Very cool.
It's on Hulu right
Hulu.
now.
Okay.
So they've got some commercials, but there's not that many commercials, and each episode's about an hour long, so it's pretty true to form. I highly recommend it. I was surprised I was going to enjoy this as much as I have, and I'm sucked in completely. So yeah.
Very cool. Hadn't heard of it.
Yeah, it's different.
Watch anything else? That was it?
The other big one that for me is my nerding out for this week was I finally got to watch the release of Sherlock that came out on January 1st, The Abominable Bride, which is their holiday episode that they put out for the Sherlock series from the BBC. And it did not disappoint. It was really awesome. They basically, in keeping with where it left off in the end of season 3, they pick it up, but they do it in such a different way, and they actually took the whole everybody from the cast, and they put them in the late 1800s. So you're right at the end of the 19th century, which is the time that all these stories are written in. So to see these actors and characters put in this time frame and in the attire and to really go through it and to really just change the dialogue just ever so slightly to match up, it's just genius. It's really brilliant writing. I love the show in general. And, all the Sherlock, all of the cases that they take on are all from the stories. They're just changed up to today. And so to see everything kind of play out this way, it's a lot of fun. And this episode was really awesome. And yeah, I don't know. If anybody watches Sherlock and you haven't watched this one yet for the holiday special that came out like just a few weeks ago, just watch it. Oh god, it's so good. It's so very nerdy, awesome Sherlocky geekiness. It's great. The fandom is just rejoicing, I'm sure.
I really wanted to, so I'm really excited to now that
Do you follow the series?
Oh yeah, I love
Oh,
the
you
series.
do?
Oh, absolutely adore the series. I got into it when I first saw Cumberbatch in Star Trek, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? He was amazing, and
Yeah.
because I really didn't know much about him. Like I remember
Oh.
seeing photos of him here and there and stuff like that, and hearing about this new actor or whatever and stuff. And then I watched Star Trek, basically the Wrath of Khan 2.0, and I just was like, this guy is phenomenal. Like he's fantastic. And I was like, and then after that, I was like, oh, he does. People were telling me he's like he does this Star Trek, this Sherlock show, and I was like, well, I love Sherlock stories, so I'll give that a shot. Watched it and fell in love, and I was like, dude, this guy is awesome. This show is so fantastic. So yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm all on board.
Benedict Cumberbatch is just a ridiculous talent, and I really enjoy what they've done with the series and the way that they've progressed Sherlock into, the 21st century, and the way that they've written him. And in a way, they've taken some of the harder things about him and they've made him even harder and more sharp and acute. And then there's some things that they've really softened on him in ways that are really unexpected, and it's really enjoyable to watch that as the series goes on. But yeah, this holiday special they just put out it's really neat, and I'm really glad they did it this way. It was something I wasn't expecting, and it was really enjoyable, and it really just was fun. And you're watching it, and you're like, that they're just having a blast doing this too. And so, yeah, it was great. And I can't really talk that much about it because it kind of gets spoilery towards the main
please
part
don't.
of the story with
Don't do
Moriarty. With Moriarty and everything, so I won't get into it. But God, it was really good. They did a really great job, and I'm glad I finally found some time to watch it. So.
I have some questions.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we
So
go.
first question is, you said it updates it for the 21st century. So is this current day Sherlock, or does this take place in a different period?
The regular show Sherlock from the BBC takes place in today, present day today.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's all present day, 21st century. So I mean, like he's got he's got a mobile. He calls himself a mobile in the UK. So he's got his mobile, and they rely on what we've come to know as forensics and everything. And so it's really interesting to see the twist and the language that gets used. I mean, they're taking the stories and updating them, but they're also updating a lot of the language that happens. And it's just really smart, and it's really fast, and yeah, it's really good. But just for this one episode, this holiday episode they put out for The Abominable Bride, they did it in a way that it takes place in 1884, 1888, I think is when it the episode kind of goes over a few years. So it's right at the end of the 19th century. So
Okay.
it was cool for the one episode, but as a whole, the show it all takes place today in present day. So, and if you're not watching it, I highly recommend it. I mean, it's 3 episodes to a series, so it's just finished up the 3rd series. The 4th series is coming. Thank God! I'm so excited.
So Bobby, you haven't watched any of this series?
It's one of those things where I've heard of everybody talking about it. I just haven't seen it. I would love to, but just haven't seen it. No.
Dude, I'm really surprised, man, because it's a fantastic series. Like it is amazing, and it's like watching a little movie every single episode.
That's what I've heard about it. Yeah,
they're like an hour and a half long, and there's only 3 or 4 episodes per season.
Yeah, it's some of the best writing that I've seen on TV for a while. It's quite spectacular.
Agreed.
Might have to get on that tonight then. Well, okay, so my second question is, do you watch the show Elementary?
I do.
Okay, how's that?
I'm caught up. I literally within the last few weeks just caught up everything excluding what's airing right now currently. So I'm actually just behind on this season, which is like I want to say 10 episodes, which I'm going to work on soon. But and I like Elementary a lot too. I like this take on it. I like, again, it's the 21st century, but Sherlock has been completely displaced, and he's in New York City due to events in his life that have led him down a certain pathway. And again, they've updated the characters, and so it's a little twist. Watson is a female, so she has different perspectives on things, as Watson usually does. But even from her viewpoint, she sees things differently, and she brings out again a different side of Sherlock that most people don't see or know about. And so for Watson and Holmes to have the relationship they do and watch it grow and progress in this one it's fascinating to see, to watch. And again, it's got really great writing, and again, you do see some of the old storylines, some of the old Sherlock storylines coming up and being updated to today's gruesome levels that we humans have grown into. But and they come up with new ones too, and again, a lot of forensics, a lot of today's technology being implemented into the storylines, and to see it all kind of plan out. And so I know a lot of people kind of like, oh, it's another cop show, or oh, it's another like CSI show, but I mean, it's still really enjoyable. And again, I really like the writing. I really like the character is such a hard character, and to write him in certain ways, it takes skill, to get him to say what he says with the venom and vinegar that he does sometimes, and still at the end of an hour be like, damn it, Sherlock, I believe in you, you son of a bitch. You're amazing, and I should hate your guts, but God, I believe in you. And so, yeah, it's great.
So then my last question is, have you watched Mr. Holmes?
And I have not watched that yet. I wanted to see that one too. It looked interesting, and again, a completely different take on the entire Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes storylines. So I don't know. I've been like, I want to see it, but I'm also timid to see it because I'm a big Sherlock fan. I've read the books and read the stories, and as a kid, like I've seen some of the old black and whites and some of the stuff from the 60s and 70s that was kind of dodgy, but I'm a Sherlock believer, and I probably always will be, and so we'll see how I feel if I watch that one.
Have you seen that one,
have like their own? Do they have like their own kind of name? You have like Whovians and Trekkies and
Sherlockians. There's not really a name. I'm just making this up.
Yeah, I was like, you're gonna be making this up.
I was sitting here and I'm like, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. I'm like, I've never heard that. That's not a thing. Like,
I know, I'm totally making it up.
I know. I'm like, wait, what? Sherlockian?
I didn't see what David's response to that bullshit was.
They should call them.
No, Michelle, no.
Have I seen it, Bobby? Is that what you're asking?
I was asking if you had seen Mr. Holmes.
No, I haven't seen Mr. Holmes. I have seen some episodes of Sherlock, but I'm not caught up. And yeah, I'm also surprised you haven't seen it at all. Because it's incredibly good.
Wow.
Elementary, I had started watching like the first season, but I never really kept up with it. Didn't quite do it for me. I mean, it's a decent show, but it's just not good enough to fill in. Some
it's a lot too. Well, yeah. I mean, the thing with Elementary is, one, I think if you're a Sherlock person, you'll like it. But two, is that storyline as a whole is actually, it's kind of long. It's, whereas in you watching the BBC's Sherlock, there's the main storylines kind of going on, but it really feels very, like, wrapped up after each kind of one. Whereas you're watching Elementary and, like, if they're having a fight, the fight can go on for 5 episodes. And you're like, holy crap, make up, you two. Like, or whatever is going on. Like, it can kind of drag out for a ways, so.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm not, downplaying Elementary. It's a good show. I mean, I liked it. It just wasn't good enough for me. As we all know, I watch so few shows. I've got other shows that are priorities for me. Mm-hmm. No, it's a good show. But Sherlock is amazingly good. I mean, and I will say I'm disappointed in myself. I haven't caught up on that. That's amazing.
I know what they should call Sherlock Holmes fans.
Bobby, careful with your next words. Come on.
No, you're absolutely gonna love this, and if you don't love it, I will guarantee your money back. So, they should call Sherlock Holmes fans homies.
I knew you were gonna say that. Oh my God! I almost wanted to cut you off and be like, "Don't say homies. Don't say homies." I knew you were gonna say that. Just terrible. It's
just so.
That's
great.
Horrible.
And then Bobby, like, Sherlock's my homie, and everyone would have T-shirts,
Unplug now, Bobby. Unplug now.
Well, anyways, that's what I've watched. I've
That's what
watched a
you
bunch
watched.
of random things, but were surprisingly enjoyable as a whole.
Cool. The only thing I watched this week, I rewatched Kingsman. My wife hadn't seen it before, so I saw that again. Watched it with her since she hadn't seen it. Still good.
What'd you think?
What did she think? I think she liked it. You know, the funny thing is, I never really asked her directly. So, what exactly did you think? But I mean, from her reaction, she seemed to enjoy it.
She told me she liked it. She said that she really enjoyed the end scene when basically everybody dies and their heads explode. She said that was really.
Well, like I think I almost kind of like laughed a little right before it happened, and she's like, "What is it?" I'm like, "You'll see."
Just
like,
keep watching.
It was just one of those moments, you like right before a moment happens in a movie you've seen before, and even though you knew it was coming, you suddenly, I'm like, "Oh yeah, here it comes," and it's just like, "Oh god, this is so ridiculously good." But so ridiculous. Yeah. No.
Ridiculous in all the best ways.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, so I mean that's really all I watched this week. I rewatched that, and the only other thing I watched is I watched that special on the CW this week, which was what was it called, Dawn of the Justice League, which I was kind of torn about watching. But then in the last minute, I'm like, I'm not doing anything else. And I couldn't record it. I don't have a DVR or anything. So I'm like, all right, I'll sit and I'll watch this as it airs. And the funny thing is I was pretty sure it was going to air at 9:30, but I wasn't certain. So at 9 o'clock, I turn it over there. And, yeah, it was that 30-minute thing just on Legends of Tomorrow. It was 30 minutes on, hey, this is what Legends of Tomorrow is all about, I guess. And I was watching, I was like, and I was still, just kind of jumping back to the discussion from earlier. I was like watching it going, yeah, no. I think I'll jump to something else and come back at 9:30. This doesn't do anything for me whatsoever. But I watched Dawn of the Justice League, and yeah, it was a cool little special. I was surprised, I'll say, to see. I didn't expect to see as much Wonder Woman as footage as we saw. I mean, there wasn't. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't a ton, but it was a decent amount of stuff.
And
they're
still
good.
filming, so that's
they're still filming. So yeah, I was surprised considering they're still filming. I don't even think they've been filming that long to see as much as we saw.
Yeah, I was expecting like still shots, and they had actual, people going after it and stuff like that. Like kind of.
Yeah, I think there was a couple fight scenes in there we got to see.
Yeah.
And I mean, most of it was.
I was gonna say it's almost like a press junket that they were doing for that movie, and it's just like the movie hasn't even come out yet. It doesn't come out for like almost another year, and like I'm sorry, go ahead, David.
No, yeah, I mean most of it was just kind of shots of her on horseback, and I think we got one shot of Chris Pine in it, and but yeah, a couple fight scenes. That was more than I expected. And then obviously my biggest draw was, okay, fine, I'll watch the Suicide Squad trailer, which was the ending of the special. And goddamn, is that looking fucking incredibly good. Like I will say my first reaction to it was the music was a little different. I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody, and I mean, don't get me wrong, great song, no doubt about it, but that threw me off a little bit at first. I was like, this feels a little weird. I don't know if this really fits. And I'll say, too, I really loved, for the record, that first teaser trailer that came from Comic-Con that really wasn't supposed to be released and it ended up getting released. That was amazing, and I loved the music in that, and the feeling from that going to this. Yeah, just Bohemian Rhapsody at first, I was like, this feels a little odd. But with that said, the footage just looks so incredibly good. And then I rewatched the trailer a couple days later, and I was a little more sold on the music. I'm still not saying it's a perfect fit, but it worked for me a little more after watching it the second time. And
it was fun. I mean,
yeah,
I'm with you. Like, I was actually talking to somebody about that today when I was speaking at my lunch, and because I was rocking the Killing Joke shirt. Anyways, he made a comment, and he made a comment, and he was like, "Oh my God, are you excited about Suicide Squad?" And so that's how we started talking about it. And I was like, I don't know what DC's marketing team really thinks sometimes, because they seem so off when it comes to timing, releasing, that sort of thing. I mean, obviously, the releasing of the Suicide Squad was to basically get people to watch Legends of Tomorrow, but it was so different. Like both of these trailers were themed so differently. Like I'm with you, David. Like the first time I watched the first trailer, it was like beautiful. It was amazing. It was fantastic. I loved everything about it. Then I watched this trailer and I was just like, oh, okay, Bohemian Rhapsody. This is taking like a whole different turn when it comes to tonnage and mood when you get to watch this movie. And I mean, it fits and it works and it was fun, but at the same time, it was like this is like way different from what they released 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm. But in the end, I think it worked better for me after a second watch, and the footage looks incredibly good. And God, I hope David Ayer has made as good of a movie as it looks like he has. And the marketing for this overall has been incredibly good so far. I wish the marketing for Batman vs Superman were the same. I still am holding out hope that, and I am pretty confident that Zack Snyder has made a good second film in Batman vs Superman, and I do think it's going to be a good movie. I just really think some of the stuff we've seen just has been, just not a great delivery of marketing.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm still holding out hope for that. But Suicide Squad, Jesus Christ, does it look good? And
doesn't that look fun?
Yeah, and it's funny too. Like I know some friends, that reacted really negatively to that first Suicide Squad teaser, which baffles me. I mean, I thought it was great, but they're the kind of people that really didn't like it at all and thought it looked ridiculous. And then now, after seeing this, I mean, they jumped on Facebook to give a complete 180 and go, "Okay, I completely changed my mind now. This movie looks awesome." Which I agree with them now, but I don't know why they didn't like the first teaser. But whatever. The one thing that's funny to me, and I don't know what you guys thought, and I think for the most part the reaction to the added footage of Jared Leto as the Joker has been positive. Mm-hmm. But I've come across still a couple rumblings out there of people that are like, "Hey, this looks great, but I still don't care about Jared Leto's Joker," and I just don't get it because I think he looks fascinating. I'm happy that we're getting a different take on the Joker. I'm glad it's not the same thing. And I think he looks incredibly good in it. So I'm even happier about that too. So yeah, I don't know what's the people out there that are still like just feel the need to be so negative about this Joker being different and whatever.
Yeah, okay. I'm actually more sold on it. I'm actually more sold on it now that I've seen a little bit more footage as well. Like I'm just like, okay, yeah, let's it'll be fun to see like a different take of the Joker. Like this is gonna be kind of cool. Like I'm really excited to see what Jared Leto's Joker is like. It looks like it's going to be really energetic and really dark. So I'm kind of excited about
that. Bobby, what were your thoughts on it?
I liked it from the moment I saw it. The music didn't bother me as much. I can understand why it was a little off-putting. But I think I remember telling you one of my favorite parts of that was when there was the gunfire that was timed with the music as the music was having those hard beats that doo, 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 and it was like the shots were timed with it. It was just, I thought it was put together pretty well, and just seeing all the different aspects and elements that are being incorporated into this movie just makes me very, very happy that they're not like holding back anything. It looks like they're just going all for it because there's magic in the movie, it looks like, and there's all kinds of just like weird kind of sorcery and supernatural things happening in there that we've never seen before in a DC universe at all, or any of their movies, Batman or Superman or otherwise. So It's just really kind of got me happy for the future of where they're going to be going, at least within this movie. And hopefully those things will get incorporated into the universe at large and be able to see some really great things coming up. And I think this, for me, is I've liked David Ayer's stuff in the past, so I suspect and fully expect this to be a good movie just based on his past work and how much I've liked it. Because I liked Fury. I liked End of Watch. I think that was what it was called, the Jake Gyllenhaal movie. Yeah, it was End of Watch. And so I'm really looking forward to this one. And I just think that the way that they did this one and showing a little bit more without going overboard and getting too crazy into really showing too much just did a lot to help sell the concept to people who were still like, what's this kind of thing? And the Jared Leto Joker just makes me even more excited for it because as far as the look, when I first saw the look, I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty different and crazy. I wasn't like negative on it, but it was just like, it's pretty out there. And then when I saw the first trailer, then I was like, okay, kind of like, oh, I see what he's doing and going for. And so this was just more of that, being able to solidify the fact that we're definitely getting a different look and different Joker, which is fine by me. I don't think we need to have the same Joker that was in the the last run of movies. So to me, it's a great interpretation that Leto is doing of the Joker. Looks like he's incorporating different timelines of the Joker from the old series, the comics, the cartoons, and just doing his newer update to the character with the teeth and everything and the writing on him, and so it just seems like a Joker, a contemporary Joker, if he was in this day and age in a sense. And so I think that overall it's just gave me more excitement looking forward to this more than I think I'm looking forward to Batman v Superman. And I'm obviously looking forward to that. But this just presents something so different to me that it makes me want to see it that much more, and especially seeing the Joker and seeing how he comes across in the film.
Michelle, what do you think of it?
I'm with you guys. I really liked it. I like the added scenes that you see. I feel like it gives you a little bit more of each of the characters that you're going to be seeing throughout this entire film. And I feel like while I loved what we saw when that sneak came out from Comic-Con, like I feel like it kind of glazed over the fact that these are not outstanding citizens. Like it was like, yeah, they're bad, they're the worst of the worst, but it was kind of vocally said. And like we're here, it's like they actually are saying a couple of things. You actually see a little bit more of their personalities slightly come through. Like you can go, wow, it's really not a spectacular person. Like these are really bad people, and they're going to be put in this situation where we're going to make them do things to basically be the front line of defense in a way. And so I like that. I like seeing a little more of that, and I think that's really a draw for a lot of other people. And yeah, the whole Joker thing, I mean, some people are just, they don't like change, they don't like something different. And whereas for me, like I see this Joker, and I've thought from the beginning he's much more reminiscent of the Joker that, I grew up reading in comics back in the late 80s and the early 90s, and from the animated series that came out in the 90s. Like that's the Joker more. It's a lot more similar to the Joker that I'm used to seeing and that I have in my head. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing Jared Leto's take on it. I think it'll be great. And yeah, I'm down. I've liked it from the beginning, and then this just sells me on it even more. So yeah.
Nice. Suicide Squad is I think it's August 5th. It's coming out. So one of the mini films in 2016 we're all looking forward to. And speaking of release dates, before we get out of here, a couple bits of news. Star Wars Episode, what it'll be, 8, has got a new release date now. You've probably heard it was going to be in May of 2017. It is now going to be in December of 2017. So a little bit later than we were expecting. A little bit of disappointment there. It was going to be interesting. It looked like at first when that was announced, the possibility that it might actually be battling Avatar 2, not on the same date, but around in the same month. But that's no longer the case either. Avatar 2 has now been pushed back to who knows when. So, but they will not be facing off against each other, which seemed like that was probably going to be the case as soon as Star Wars moved to that date. I had a hard time really believing. I think we all had a hard time believing that those two would actually battle. But
yeah.
So yeah, the new release date for Star Wars is December 17th, exactly, 2017.
Doesn't that still leave one movie that's still around its orbit?
I don't know. Does it? You tell me.
Well, I don't know for sure because I never looked up the date, but I think I had heard around the websites and stuff that Ready Player One was supposed to come out in December of 2006.
Oh yeah, that does sound kind of familiar.
And that's Steven Spielberg, so.
Oh. I would hate to see those two go head to head because, I mean, sadly I can predict the winner, but it's because, and I'm looking forward to Ready Player One big time.
Yeah, me too.
I would hope that they don't have those dates too closely together. Again, let you say that.
It has an expected release date of December 15th, 2017.
Yeah, December 15th. So.
Oh God.
I would be surprised if it keeps that.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
I would be too.
But I don't know where it'll move to. That's the thing. Because,
I'm sure they'll find somewhere, but I doubt it would stay there. Yeah.
But that's
Thanksgiving.
But see, that's the thing. See, I don't know if Yasha has read it or anything. I know David hasn't, but I know Michelle has, and she knows, like how I know that if they really pull this off, how ambitious it is, because there's a lot going on in that, and the special effects and everything else that it'll take to do it will be pretty hard to do. So, it's crazy because some people would say, well, okay, well, why not just move it up? But you can't necessarily move it up because you might have to still have effects that need to be taken care of and done. And then you don't want to push it back because obviously you would probably have to wait till summer or spring to push it back. And you can't necessarily move it up to November either because if I remember correctly, I think that's when Justice League Part 1 comes out. So it's like I don't know where it moves to.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard one to place because and I know that they're really hoping it does really well because it does have a pretty good cult following, this novel, and yeah, it's gonna be such an amazing. It's such a cool story, and it's so for our generation, and I think it can really be told well, and I think the effects, which are gonna have to be pretty effing spectacular, should be and hopefully will be. And so yeah, I mean, if they were to move it up early, the earliest I would say would be like, please don't make it much earlier than that Thanksgiving. But if they move it back into 2018, yeah, then it's like, God, we'll have to wait till the early spring of 2018. Oh my God, like I can't because I'm really looking forward to it. I know there's a lot of people, the fan base is really looking forward to it. So yeah, so that's gonna be a hard one. But yeah, I can't see it sticking around to go head to head against Star Wars. Hell no. Like, I mean, they're not. Yeah, it's Spielberg. He's smarter than that. He knows.
Yeah, and plus he has a relationship with those guys, so I doubt that he'll stay there. But it's just where a matter of where it'll go. And it's not like even that was. It was such a weird week where I kept reading these different announcements of things getting moved around. I think Spider-Man moved up 2 weeks when it comes out. The Mummy got pushed up or back. I can't remember. The one with Tom Cruise that's coming out. Some other stuff got moved around. It was just like a weird game of shuffleboard going on where all the movie releases. I don't know why everything moved around so much, but there was Star Wars that was obviously the biggest one, and that was the one I was like, I get it, but I was still disappointed when I saw the news. And it was just like, man, it's already you're anxious for a year and a half just because of where this one left off, and you're ready to pick it up and see what happens. Now to extend it, and it's pretty much a full 2 years, and you're just like, come on. Had this been known before, I would have been in my head already know that's the case, but it's like having the rug pulled out from under you, and you're just like, okay, I mean, now that I know going forward this is probably going to be the case, these movies will come out in December, then I'm prepared for it. But now, after having seen this one, had I not seen this one yet, and it was 2 years, okay, it's no big deal. But now seeing it, thinking I only have a year and a half to wait, it's like, man, those extra 6 months, I know from that point on in May, I'll be every month thinking I would have seen Star Wars by now, but it got pushed back, so I'll have to wait that extra.
Look at the positives, though. This is extra time they have to, to make everything perfect, for the effects, for the storyline, to really develop it and really get it all their little ducks in a row, and then they could spend this awesome 6 extra months, just promoting the shit out of it like they did with this one, and just making it this major thing.
I think
it'll be like a repeat of this year. It'll be awesome.
Well, I think that's the case only if you believe they've had delays. And I don't particularly believe that's the case. I believe they saw how well it did in December, and they're like, let's stake that claim, and let's now start having these movies in December where we can make bank. I think if it came out in May, they'd have had all their ducks in a row, and all this effects would have been done, and everything would have been good to go. But they just saw that December seems to be a nice date now, and they're just going to take it. So that's what it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it would seem that, yeah, it's not a move so much because, Rian Johnson needs more time or anything like that.
I was trying to be positive. I was just trying to bring Bobby up here. I'm trying to look at it from the rosier side of the fence. Jesus.
No. This sucks, Michelle.
Yeah, it sucks.
We have to wait longer.
Well, look at it this way. It'll be another Merry Christmas. God.
Jeez. We want Star Wars 8 now.
I know.
We don't have to wait. Anyway, but with that, unless you guys have anything else,
I do.
You do.
I want to hear what your guys' opinion of this is. What do you think about the boycott for the Oscars?
Oh man, you really want to ask that
Oh man.
As briefly as you can, or as detailed as you want. I'm interested to hear what you guys think.
As one of the white guys here, I'm going to divert to you, Bobby, or you.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Bobby, do you want to go first, or should I?
Yeah, I'll go first. I see everyone's point from both sides of it. I think that ultimately you need more people in place that would be behind the camera, like executives, directors, writers, in order for you to effect change where more people of color are in these roles. So then, of course, they'll get nominated because they're in these big movies that don't typically have them in it. So that's the overall sort of pulled back viewpoint. The more narrow focus is I'll side with what Ice Cube said in his talk show little excerpt where he said basically, for him, it's like he doesn't make movies to get awards. He makes movies for the fans. And if the fans like it, that's enough for him. But if an award show wants to give him an award, that's pretty much just icing on the cake. And so it's
I'm sorry,
Ice Cube. Ice Cube.
Okay.
So he was just basically coming at it from the standpoint of like, it's if you're making movies for that particular point, then maybe you have some sort of thing that where you're looking at it to where it affects you. But if you're making movies and you're able to buy these nice big houses and cars, that's usually because you're making movies that the fans like, not necessarily because the Oscars like them, because those movies don't always coincide with people having big bank accounts. There's some crossover. There's Leos, there's George Clooney's, and etc. But typically speaking, Vin Diesel isn't getting an Oscar award anytime soon, but yet he's got plenty of fans and tons of money. So it's just a viewpoint of what you really are looking for, and do you feel like you really need that admiration? Because there's been a couple years ago when the Oscars, there were a lot of minority members that were being in positions to win awards, whereas last year I definitely think there was an oversight with Selma and with the director and with the main actor, but this year there was a lot of good competition, so it could have just been one of those years. So I don't know. I think had it been like, okay, this is like the third or fourth year in a row that it hasn't happened, then maybe there's a bigger point of contention. But in a year this packed, I could see how it could happen as opposed to it being something done specifically on purpose.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'm with you on a lot of what you said, Bobby. I can see both sides of it, as you can. I think, honestly, this boycott that Jada's calling for is kind of self-serving, and I think it's a year too late when it comes to that, with the the oversight of Selma and some of the other films from last year that should have gotten recognition, and I think it's misplaced. I don't think a boycott would have been the right thing to do, because like I said, it's self-serving. She's basically pissed because her husband didn't get a nomination. And now maybe Will deserves a nomination. I haven't seen Concussion yet, but I heard that he's fantastic in it. But I've also been under the impression that Oscar season for movies, when they really wanted to get nominated, were released around anywhere between September and November. Isn't that kind of like the stereotypical time when they release movies that want, that acknowledgement, and that, they really want to push for that nomination, not Christmas Day? But I mean, that's notwithstanding, that doesn't take away from any of the talent and whatnot that he's done. I think that the better response, personally, for this would not be to exclude and try to bring attention to it that way, but to include and bring attention to it that way. Because one of the things that I've always noticed when it comes to Spielberg, whenever he wins an award or gets acknowledgement for something, the first thing that he always says when he's up there in the speech is, how we need more women in the studios, we need more diversity, we need more minorities, we need more this, we need more that. we need more inclusion of everything out there, because there are hundreds of talented people out there that don't just happen to be young white men or whatever the case may be. And I think that people will talk about this strike or boycott from being at this film for a couple of weeks or maybe a week or so, and then I think it'll lose steam and nobody's going to talk about it, especially at the Oscars. And it's just going to, I think it's going to hurt them, opposed to them showing up and supporting the issue, saying, hey, we're incredibly disappointed that we didn't get that Will didn't get nominated, but we're here to support the people that did, and also trying to bring attention to the fact that we should definitely have more people of color being nominated, being recognized, and being acknowledged for their work, because they're incredibly talented. I think that the Academy is doing the right thing by trying to basically include or make more people make better decisions when it comes to nominating people and acknowledging their roles and their talent. But as far as it goes, when it comes to them striking and wanting to basically ostracize themselves from something that a lot of people have worked really hard to be a part of, even on some scale, isn't quite the right move that I would take. And that's just coming from like a public perception and public relations type of view, and and a fan's point of view too. Like, I mean, there's no better scale, global scale, than the Oscars and the red carpet, when people are just doting over what they're wearing and what they're doing, and like, oh, what are you wearing? Oh, well, I'm wearing, Versace. And by the way, let me talk about X, Y, and Z. And people will hear that, but that's just my opinion. So,
all right,
Michelle. I think like I said, I think she's a year too late. I think all this is self-serving because she's pissed that Will didn't get nominated.
Yeah, I'm right with what Yasha says, basically. Like, I feel that the boycott is a little, I don't know, it seems kind of like a child's reaction to the situation of a much broader problem. It's like you guys said, like last year with Selma, that was a pretty hard one. But this year, and again, like I've heard Concussion's good, but is it really that good compared to what's going up against this year? I have no idea. I mean, because from what I've seen, the stuff that's got nominated, from what I've seen of what's nominated, it's pretty awesome stuff. Like, yeah. These are some great films. Unfortunately, I have not seen Straight Outta Compton yet. I haven't seen Dope yet. So I can't compare. I don't have the comparisons there. But what I will say, and what I agree with, is that as far as the numbers go, people that are actually in the Academy, it's insanely skewed. It's like 90% are men. And then like another and like the average age, I think, was 65 or 66, the average age of the voter. So you have people that are that are white old dudes, basically. And so what that also tells me is that there's just, like you're saying, there's not enough people of completely different racial backgrounds. There's not enough women. There's not enough people that are in the industry coming at that level, at those levels, that are coming into it and making a name for themselves and putting themselves out there. And yeah, I think it'd be cool if more acceptance speeches said, and talked down. They said, that little boy who's growing up, in the poor section of town, like, you can do this, and to girls, you can do just as great as the guys can do, and you can do anything. Like, you don't have to be just a director. You could be a writer. You can, help develop special effects. You can do music. Like, get involved. Like, if that's what your passion is, go for it. And that's what I want to see more of, is more acceptance speeches where they encourage people to follow these dreams. People that are not just, old rich white dudes, basically, which is what's the big problem is as far as the voting goes. But I know they're looking into different ideas as far as like even opening up the number of nominations for like Best Picture. They're playing with the idea of making it like 10 films. I'm like, oh my God, if you're gonna nominate 10 films for Best Picture, Jesus, we'll be here all night. Like, yeah. And I get it because they want to be more inclusive, but at the same time, it's like, really? You want to nominate 10 films? They're looking at different ideas of opening scopes of those things, and so I don't know how I feel about that either, but it's a very large picture, and it's not something that's going to change overnight, and I know that, and it's not something that I think I'm going to see within my generation, but in following generations, we could probably see some change coming. That would be great.
But the thing is, it's like they're not going to get, my viewpoint is that is like, you're not going to get nominated just because it's a black film. Like, that's kind of ridiculous when people like, I'm sorry, but I thought Chirac was a Netflix film, and I didn't know that he did a wide release. As far as I know, that Netflix, Chirac was only on the East Coast and the West Coast, or L.A. and New York, maybe Chicago. But Spike Lee's being upset about that just because you're upset because you feel that your body of work is, in which I viewed from the trailer, it just looks like a giant bitch session for the violence that's going on in Chicago. It's like I don't know. It's like, I mean, to me and I'll watch anything that Spike Lee's done, but to me, when I saw the trailer for that, I was like, that didn't interest me at all. Like, and maybe that's my lack of motivation when it comes to like wanting to see something like that. But like, I feel like his whole premise of being upset about this is just he's pissed because he didn't get nominated or get any acknowledgement. But it's like, dude, you've done films that you can be upset about, but be upset about the ones that didn't get nominated. Be upset that Denzel didn't get an Academy Award for Malcolm X, which is an amazing film. Be upset about some of the other stuff that you've done, but you're getting upset about Chirac, which looks really, really weird. Like, I don't know. It's like you shouldn't get nominated just because it's a black film or a Latin film or an Asian film.
Right.
But they definitely should get acknowledgement when the work is warranted that type of acknowledgement. And like you said, it's like, who knows? Like, I mean, they're going up against a shit ton of movies this year that are incredibly, really, really good. Like, I thought Dope was amazing, but I didn't think that it was amazing on the scale that, oh yeah, this should be nominated for an Academy Award.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, why would it be nominated if it, if I didn't think that it was, that great of a film? And I'm a minority.
I mean, yeah, I don't have anything really to add other than you guys are all pretty much giving the same opinion, I think, on this, and it's the way I feel about it. I mean, when it comes to the stuff that didn't get nominations, I mean, I have the point of view that I haven't seen Concussion, I haven't seen the film on Netflix with Idris Elba. That's
Beasts of No Nation.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either, which seem to be two big examples of films that could have possibly gotten acting nominations. I mean, I have seen Straight Outta Compton. In my opinion, it had no business getting a Best Picture nomination, even though I did enjoy the movie. So to me, that's not really part of the conversation for me. But so I can't speak for Will Smith and Idris Elba, and as to their performances. I mean, I agree that the stuff I did see that has been nominated, I think, is deserving. I think it's been incredibly good stuff out there, and it's a lot of competition. And yeah, from the perspective of someone like me who hasn't seen those two movies, I mean, the stuff that is nominated, I feel like is deserving, and possibly it got nominated because it should have gotten nominated. And yeah, I also agree that there is a problem with the makeup of the Academy, but boycotting, like you guys have already said, I don't really think is the answer. So I think it's unfortunate. I hope you see these rumblings of more people that are saying, oh, this person may boycott too now, and this person may boycott, and kind of saddens me because I do think it's kind of a somewhat childish reaction to this. And then I do think about the people that have been nominated, a lot of first-time nominees, or possibly possible first-time Oscar winners for this year's awards. That now they're going to be a part of an award ceremony that could be mirrored in so much controversy, and it could be so many people boycotting, and I think that's unfortunate. But yeah, I'm not saying that this isn't an issue. It's definitely an issue, and it needs to be talked about and needs to be figured out. But boycotting it, I don't think is the answer. So
yeah, but I think some of these movies could go to in the Best Picture, and I'm going to catch split shit from everybody here probably about this. But I don't think Mad Max should have been nominated for a Best Picture, and I really don't think The Martian should have been nominated for Best Picture. It was good. Don't get me wrong, Michelle. I know how much you loved it, but
it wasn't in my top 10. I mean, I enjoyed the book more than I enjoyed the movie. So
yeah, but it's like, I mean, that's just really, to me, it's like that was really weird for that movie to be nominated for Best Picture. Like, I was just like, really, The Martian? Like, I mean, it was good, but was it Best Picture of the Year good? No, maybe, that type of thing. And I don't think Mad Max is, is definitely in that running as well. But that's just me, I didn't vote on it, so.
All right. Well.
Wait, I have one more thing.
Okay.
Josh is chatty tonight.
I am on it, man. I didn't talk to you guys last week. I mean, so I'm really excited. This is just neither here nor there. It's going to take a minute. Super excited. April 15th. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Season 2. Oh, yeah. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. I mean, Daredevil's in there too. That's March 18th. House of Cards.
Oh,
House of
Daredevil.
Cards.
That is that one.
House
Yeah.
of Cards as well. But I mean, I am so excited to see Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt season 2. Have you guys watched this? Michelle, have you watched this?
I have not seen. No, I've not.
It's a good show.
Oh, it's
I
a
haven't
great
watched-
show.
I haven't watched the whole season, but that's a great show. I mean,
Oh
it's
my
great. It's
God.
really funny.
I'm too busy watching German spy TV.
Apparently, but Michelle, like, watch this. It is so obscure and so remarkably funny. Like, it's damn good. Like, I've watched the season over again and still laughed and find new stuff to laugh at. Like, that's how funny it is because it's so fast. So, please give that a shot.
All right, I'll work on it.
If David can find time, you're kidding, right? If David can find time, the guy who doesn't watch anything, come on now.
And that's the show that's what? They're 30-minute episodes, right?
Yeah, they're only 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So you
That's,
can fly
that's
through
another
it.
nice thing about it. They're so easy to watch. You know?
Yeah.
They're easy to fit in there when you're like, I got time to watch a 30-minute show. And I
Yeah,
don't even have to
exactly.
think. It's not like you got to think a lot. It's funny. It's it's just a comedy. It's
Exactly.
come on.
That's
I
it.
can watch Michelle.
I'm going to go watch football now.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, with that, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. As usual, we'd like to know what you thought of the podcast, everything we talked about today. You can let us know by emailing us at feedback@flickereffect.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Google+, and Twitter. You can find links to those accounts on our website. Just look over on the right-hand side. And not to mention youtube.com/Flicker Effect, which some of you may be joining us live as we broadcast this recording. But you can always watch the episode later on that website if you're listening to the audio version. Just to give you a heads up. I'm David Lott.
Did we lose Bobby?
I don't know. Maybe we lost Bobby.
Maybe we lost Bobby. Oh.
Maybe he took a bathroom break.
I'll
Maybe-
do Bobby Jackson.
All right, go
Wait.
ahead.
Wait, is he coming back? There he is.
Oh,
Bobby?
Oh, no. All right.
No.
You do your Bobby Jackson.
All right. Bobby Jackson.
And then yourself.
And I'm Yasha Wilson, of course.
And I'm Michelle Curry.
All right. Thanks for listening.